I think we have to realize that we're a part of the lives that we live. I think we need to learn in a real sense to open our perspective up to ourselves. I think that too often we allow our own passion, our own energy, and our own identity to work as an undercurrent for our life when it really should be not necessarily at the forefront of our mind, but expressed through our action. I think a lot of times we do things that are unbefitting of ourselves or sort of get into these loops of negative habits because we aren't being aware of who we are. I feel like in a lot of ways you can't see the path if you can't see yourself. I feel like the path and you are always one because it's your path to walk, and the path is somewhat an internal thing. It's somewhat your relationship to the world around you and your relationship to yourself as you go through it. And via the experiences that you do go through and in every circumstance that you are a part of, I feel like you are able to go deeper within yourself. I feel like you can only see the world as deeply as you've met yourself, or you can only meet others as deeply as you met yourself. I've heard that quote before, and I think that it's very important to recognize that everything always starts from you. It always starts from the perspective that, you have to be an active participant in your life in order to achieve anything that's going to be befitting of your life. And when I say befitting of your life, I'm talking about your own standards, your own quality, your own contentment, your own passion. And I think it all stems from your ability to be able to see yourself, to be able to recognize the ways in which you contribute to your own life in the subtle and unexpressed ways. I think even for myself, it's about recognizing the ways in which my certain thoughts and my certain actions, my certain habits contribute to my overall progression towards my goals. And recognizing whether or not those things actually are befitting or whether or not I should actually be doing those things if I want to achieve this, that, and the other. I think it's about being honest with yourself, being very intentional with the way in which you go about your day, not necessarily in an overstressed, overzealous attention way, but being present enough to recognize when we're causing ourselves undoing. Being present enough to recognize when what we do is not contributing to who we are. And that doesn't mean don't relax. That doesn't mean don't do this, don't do that. It means relax intently. It means do it mindful of yourself and actually relax. I think sometimes we get so preoccupied with everything else in our life that we don't actually give ourselves an opportunity to relax or give ourselves the opportunity to do anything. I feel like multitasking in this sense, sort of multitasking in the sense of trying to achieve something, a specific goal, is sometimes unbefitting. I feel like you have to be somewhat intent. And when I say multitasking, I'm not necessarily talking about doing multiple things at once, but more so keeping your mind occupied on multiple things at once. When it comes to actually, say, writing or something, you shouldn't be thinking about ways in which your writing may fail. You should be thinking about writing and creation itself. Like if I'm making a video right now, I'm not thinking about what the video is going to do. I'm thinking about making the video. Or at least I'm not even thinking. I'm just present enough to make the video. And I think when it comes to ourselves, we have to be present with our care. Present with the way we treat ourselves on a day in, day out basis, because our mind also needs to be taken care of along with our bodies, along with our spirit. And, one thing that I try to take care of and try to at least give more attention to is my skincare, is my overall care for myself, my overall attention to detail. To say you can't see the path if you don't see yourself is to say you have to be able to acknowledge the ways in which you can help yourself out in a way. Learn to treat yourself like a friend and learn to give yourself a better opportunity to express that love to yourself, to express that self-care. And that's why I'm thankful that Teach Hanley is sponsoring this video. If you guys are familiar with Teach Hanley, they're a uncomplicated skincare brand for men. And they sent me a couple items to showcase today. I've been using it for quite a while. They sent me a wash, a PM, and AM moisturizer, as well as a scrub. And this is in the level 1 system. I think skincare is sort of important, or self-care in any regard. I think we have to learn to give ourselves an opportunity to love ourselves and express our care through our actions and through our thoughts. And since they're sponsoring this video today, they're offering you guys an amazing deal. You guys can get 40% off your first box today, and then get a gift valued at $20, which is either a manicure set or an exfoliating brush. But please click the link in the description if you are interested, and recognize that, self-care always extends beyond pretty much everything that we do for ourselves, but also how we think about it. How we recognize the contributions to our own life and how we validate them and validate ourselves through them. I feel like everything that we do for ourselves should be fixed with a subtle amount of affirmation towards who we are, not necessarily just doing those things, because I feel like sometimes we get so habitual in our relative care for ourselves, so habitual in our relative affirmation through action, that we forget to affirm ourselves mentally, forget to, justify the reasoning for our actions, and actually give ourselves a little bit more. Like if I'm taking care of my skin or taking care of myself, like working out, it's because I love myself, because I want to take care of myself. And it's important to feel that appreciation for you while you're doing that certain thing. Feel that appreciation for pretty much everything that you do for yourself that contributes to your overall progression towards your goals. I feel like if we are able to do that, then it won't be so much fixated on the path or so much fixated on the outcomes of our actions, but more so the person that's doing it. More so the person that's actually there to experience whatever it is that's present. Because I feel like if we can't be present, then there's nothing left. If we aren't paying attention to the moment, then the moment is gone. I think a lot of us live in reference to the past and live in reference to our memory because we're so caught up in the past while trying to be in the present, while being present. To the point where the present moment that we're currently experiencing becomes past. I feel like when you wait for life to happen, it passes you by. And I think a lot of us think that our life has already happened and it's only relative to the past, but it's happening right now. The future starts right now, and it's always important to recognize that each and every amount of effort that you put into the present moment is contributing to something. I feel like the law of accumulation is very real when it comes to progression and it comes to even your idea of yourself. I feel like even if it's not about the subtle actions that you do in day out that contribute to your overall success, I feel like it's about more so the perspective that you're able to get from that consistency. Giving yourself a certain amount of effort day in and day out and sort of proving to yourself, or at least proving to your mind, that whatever you're trying to progress towards is actually something you desire. And I think that's one of the keys in aligning yourself with what you want and actually being able to attain it is acting in accordance to it. Putting yourself in alignment to an idea that you actually want to progress. And I feel like you can't align yourself to anything if you don't know what that self is. And I'm not saying that people have to completely understand who they are, completely understand this, completely understand this, but understand at the very least they have to be present with themselves. The only way to learn about yourself is your willingness to listen to what is, not your effort. So I feel like it's about walking your path with an open eye, walking your path with an open eye, open mind, and a subtle smile. A certain optimism for what has yet to come, and a certain optimism within yourself to give yourself that certain amount of appreciation and actually invest love within the path so it's actually present. If we recognize that we in the path are one, then whatever we experience along this path is not, I would say it's kind of you, but I'm more so in the thought that it's more so about your feelings about yourself, not necessarily what happens in an external sense, like if I try to achieve this certain something and then I fail at first. It's not about that. It's not about taking that personally. It's about making life intimate. It's about recognizing that you in a path of one is to say that if you are feeling good about yourself and you truly love yourself and you're truly grounding your feelings about yourself in who you are instead of what you experienced, then regardless of the path that you're on, it's going to be characteristic of that love. And the more suited we're actually going to be to actually achieve our goals. I feel like a lot of us run into failure. We run into some type of hardship and we quit. We quit or we give up, and we don't really give ourselves the opportunity to truly see the spoils of our desires and the spoils of our actual action. I think we expect things to sort of fall on our lips instantaneously without recognizing that patience is a virtue. I think we have to give ourselves a little bit of time to achieve certain things. And I don't mean that in the sense of being constrained by time, because I don't feel like time really exists to a real extent. But I feel like we have to be patient with what we desire. We're not the ones who get to choose whenever something falls on our lap. And I feel like to have no expectation is what allows things to happen faster. I don't know what it is, but I think it's truly in accordance to the law of attraction. I feel like it's very real. I feel like and the law of detachment, the more we allow ourselves to be happy and be sort of on the level of our desires in terms of how we should feel if we were to receive that, the quicker things actually come, the more detached we are from a certain outcome, the more we detached we are from how things currently are, in a sense of not being able to give ourselves appreciation because we have yet to achieve something. The more we're going to be able to actually be present, the more we're going to be present enough to actually see the things that can contribute to that goal, can actually give ourselves a little bit more to actually get a little bit more. And I feel like it's at times where I let go of my expectation, the things that look a certain way, for that I actually experience some type of gratitude and happiness for who I am. And it gets to a point of, I start doing stuff for myself in a very disciplined way, in a very self-caring way, in a very self-loving way, without expectation of some type of external thing, but solely because I'm a person. Solely because I also have to experience everything that I experience. It's not just a mind, it's not just a body, it's not just a spirit, it's the whole. And if I don't take care of the person that's experiencing that, then it's likely going to be a worse experience. You have to take care of the thing that's experiencing things. You have to take care of the person that's taking care of you, in a sense. You have to sort of treat yourself like a friend in a real way. And I think that's about giving yourself a certain amount of presence and attention, giving yourself a opportunity, again, to see parts of yourself, to be able to see the parts of yourself that seek out change, and give yourself love. Give yourself real love and open your perspective up to yourself. Think your dreams and your aspirations with yourself in mind, and put yourself in those positions and visualize that and make it real, make it possible, and make it achievable. I feel like that's the only way to truly go out there and get it, because every great idea was at first a thought. Every great thing was at first just somebody's thought, and they validated it through their action. A goal without action is just a thought. So I feel like we have to, at the very least, take action. At the very least, be decisive enough with our intention to go out there and do something. And I feel like we don't even have to have everything figured out. I think the first step really does reveal the second. And I think a lot of us get preoccupied with the whole staircase. We get preoccupied with the outcome and how we're supposed to get there, and thinking about the distance that we have from the outcome. And that's why I feel like the detachment comes in, because you have to feel like you are achieving it now. You have to feel that gratitude and that support now. You don't support a house after it's built. You support it while it's being built. You give yourself the validation while you're trying to get the thing that you're using to validate yourself. And that's why I feel like it always starts with you internally. It's not about the outcome. It's really not. It's about the steps that you make to get to that desired something. And you have to validate yourself along the way and throughout the way, because you and the path are one. I feel like giving yourself that chance at a chance is a very important phenomenon. If we don't give ourselves an opportunity, then there will be no opportunity. I think a lot of us think the world is just going to open up in our favor if we don't do anything. It's always about what you do. It's always about how you feel about what you do too. It's about how much of yourself you allow to actually be present, so you can see what you actually wish to do, and so you can see opportunities to do it. Like, just yesterday, I recognized that in terms of my goals and aspirations, I'm getting a lot better. Like, my public speaking skill and overall ability to articulate myself without fear of ostracization or any type of judgment is very prominent nowadays. I feel like back in the day, I used to get nervous about this and the other, but now it's not even about that. It's about taking things at face value in a real way. Like, if I have to public speak, it's not about reactions. It's not about judgment. Because as soon as I'm thinking about that, I'm judging myself. It's about speaking. And that's something I do all the time. And there's no point of discouraging yourself in things that you readily do. In the same way that we shouldn't worry about missing a shot we have yet to take. It's important to put things out there. It's important to take those steps on the path so we can actually experience the path instead of experiencing our doubt, experiencing our stagnation. Overall, I think it's just about being where you are. Being where you are and being conscious enough to recognize that there are plenty of opportunities in a day for you to affirm yourself and for you to do things that actually contribute to who you are. I feel like all of us need to find those things that make us feel like ourselves until we're able to feel like ourselves through and throughout. I feel like authenticity is I want to say it's a learned thing, but it's sort of an allowed thing. It's sort of our ability to give ourselves an opportunity to be here. Um, so if you made it this far in the video, thank you all so much. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope you guys are taking care of yourself to the best extent. There's a lot more on the way. I'm trying to get more podcasts pushed out, but it's been a very busy semester for me. So I hope you guys are taking care of yourself. In the meantime, keep being y'all, keep being great. Make sure you're treating yourself like a friend again, and I guess opening your perspective back up to yourself instead of allowing it to be stagnated by who you were in the past.